Hello and welcome back to the All Four Downs podcast, the show where we dive into extra yard into the exciting world of college football. I'm your host, Obi Muniz, and I am delighted to have you join me today. Today I have an awesome episode lined up as we explore my preseason college football top 25. Last season, the Georgia Bulldogs lost the SEC Conference Championship that resulted in falling from number 1 to number 6. Another team to lose from number 1 rank and drop to number 6 rankings was Alabama in 2017. However, the Crimson Tides were able to make the college football playoffs and defeat Georgia in the national championship. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors, Clovercrest Media, who makes this podcast possible. Visit our website at cmgsportscentral.com for the latest podcast of your favorite major sports. So, are you ready? Here we go. This is my college football top 25. The rankings are based on the following categories: ranked following us after a strong season, highly ranked recruiting class and returning players, impressive spring season performance, and of course, the transfer portal. Now it's time to see who I have ranked as the top contenders heading into this season. Rankings 21 to 25, Kansas State, Virginia Tech, UTSA, Arizona, Boise State. Kansas State's head coach Chris Kallman has elevated the program, finishing the last 2 seasons in the top 25. Virginia Tech bounced back from a 4-year drought to having a winning season. UTSA dominated the Conference USA and finished 3rd in the American Conference under Jeff Traylor. Arizona made history last season, defeating 5 straight top 25 opponents. And Boise State was not ranked at all last season. Ranking 16 to 20, Miami, Iowa, Tennessee, North Carolina State, Oklahoma. Miami finished 7-6, losing the bowl game to Rutgers. This season, expect Mario Cristobal to be on the hot seat. Iowa's head coach Kirk Ferentz has been there since 1999. He will rely on former Michigan quarterback Cade McNamara to improve the offense. Tennessee slightly fell off from the 2022 season. This season, they will have 8 potential transfers as starters. North Carolina State has former Coastal Carolina star Grayson McCall as their starting quarterback. Oklahoma is new to the SEC. With Dylan Gabriel transferring out, it will be a battle between sophomore Jackson Arnold or Casey Thompson, a transfer from Nebraska and Texas, for the starting quarterback job. Rankings 11 to 15, Missouri, Florida State, Clemson, LSU, Oklahoma State. Mizzou finished last season 11-2. It was the first time since 2014. Florida State was disappointed for not making the college football playoffs after winning the ACC championship. They acquired former Clemson and Oregon State quarterback DJ Uiagalelei. Clemson finished 9-4 and failed to reach double-digit wins since 2010. That was Dabo Swinney's second season as a head coach. LSU has gone back-to-back seasons with 10 wins with head coach Brian Kelly. Garrett Nussmeier is expected to be the new starting quarterback and hopeful to win their game opener. Oklahoma State lost in the Big 12 championship against Texas and are eager to get back to its winning ways. Rankings 5 to 10, Notre Dame, Oregon, Penn State, Michigan, Utah, and Ole Miss. Should Notre Dame finish undefeated, at best the team will be ranked number 6 in the college football playoffs. Oregon moves to the Big 10 hoping to compete alongside Ohio State. Penn State has been the 3rd best team in the Big 10. Can they improve or be worse at their position with some additional teams? Michigan are defending champions, but losing many pieces, including their staff. One significantly is the head coaching position. Sharon Moore is the new head coach for Michigan. Utah moves to the Big 12, and Ole Miss has a chance to shine with Nick Saban retiring from Alabama. The top 4 ranked teams that I have is Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama. Alabama has a new head coach since 2007. There is a huge shoe to fill for Kalen DeBoer. The legacy of Nick Saban acquired 6 national championships, 4 Heisman winners, filling a stadium of over 100,000 in attendance. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers is a Heisman candidate. Ohio State has the majority of their players returning for one more season, but will have a new quarterback. Will Howard is a transfer from Kansas State. And the number 1 ranked Georgia, who saw their fate fall hard after losing the SEC championship, ranked 1 and falling down to number 6. Well, Kirby Smart will have the team ready, and of course the Heisman contender Carson Beck. Notable games from the top 10 as follows. Georgia and Alabama will play at least 5 top 25 teams in the upcoming season. This gives them leverage in the rankings should they win their games. Except both Georgia and Alabama do face each other this season. Ohio State is not playing any team valuable outside the Big Ten Conference. That could be a big concern. Notre Dame will be difficult to convince the College Football Committee should they lose one of their games in their schedule. The only contenders in the schedule as of right now is Florida State. Ole Miss's schedule is similar to Ohio State. No legit non-conference games to help them be a part of other teams contending for the number 1 spot. Penn State must finish undefeated since their only difficult task in their schedule is Ohio State. For the first time since 2012 season, Penn State will not compete against Michigan. Let's take a look closely at my top 25 in relation to the college football playoffs. The top 5 conferences are predicted to be 1. SEC, 2. Big Ten, 3. Big 12, 4. the ACC, and 5. the American Conference. Georgia, Ohio State, Utah, and Florida State will be the teams to have a bye week in the first round of the playoffs. That will leave UTSA at 5, awaiting for the number 12 seed opponent. The rest of the cities should follow. 6. Texas, 7. Alabama, 8. Notre Dame, 9. Oregon, 10. Penn State, 11. Michigan, and number 12, Ole Miss. Now, if I'm going to predict this, which is going to be pretty awesome, okay, these are some valuable games that you'll be dying to want to watch, especially late in the season in the month of December. Notre Dame hosted Oregon back in 1976 in a blowout. Should Oregon play at Notre Dame, the victory more likely will go to the Irish. Ole Miss versus UTSA will be the first time to meet. However, I will go for the upset and UTSA will win. Michigan and Texas face each other in the Rose Bowl, with Texas winning by 1 point. Longhorns will definitely win. And Alabama and Penn State resulted in the Crimson Tide to win. And let's advance to the New Year's 6 bowl games. I have Georgia over Notre Dame, Florida State getting by UTSA, Texas over Utah, and Alabama defeating Ohio State. And lastly, definitely I have Georgia and Texas in the national championship, with Georgia winning their game. It's time for the final whistle. And going back to my predictions here. And again, it's just a prediction and just to show how the college football playoff format actually works. A 12-team playoff in college football has been proposed and discussed for several reasons. 1, inclusivity and fairness. A 12-team playoff would allow more teams the opportunity to compete for the national championship, including those for smaller conferences or with 1 or 2 losses. This promotes a sense of fairness and inclusively across the sport. It's definitely going to help increase the excitement and engagement. More playoff games mean more exciting for fans, players, coaches. It also keeps more fan bases engaged later in the season, as more teams will have a chance to make the playoffs. Additional playoff games can generate significant revenue through ticket sales, broadcasting rights, and sponsorships. This financial boost can benefit not just the playoff teams, but also the entire college football ecosystem. The proposed format often includes buys and home games for higher seeded teams, rewarding those who perform well in the regular season. A larger playoff field makes more games throughout the season meaningful as the teams strive for a top 12 ranking. This can enhance the competitiveness and drama of the regular season. But a 12-team playoff can help address regional biases by ensuring representation from various parts of the country, potentially including teams that might have been overlooked in a smaller playoff format. More playoff games mean more high-stakes experiences for players who can aid in their development and preparation for their careers. The current system can take disadvantages through tougher schedules. A 12-team playoff provides a cushion, ensuring that a couple of tough losses don't completely eliminate a team from the championship contention. These reasons highlight the potential benefits of expanding the playoff system to include more teams, aiming to create more exciting, fair, and lucrative college football landscape. But what happens when you have a stacked SEC and Big Ten conference teams? And that's what I just had displayed in front of you. There are 4 SEC teams, 4 Big Ten teams, and then 1 each of the Big 12, ACC, American, and of course Notre Dame, which is independent. What happens when you have 2 teams of the same conference challenging for the national championship? Is it diverse? Is the committee going to reward teams that are really deserving, such as teams that finish second in their conference? A stacked conference is very undeserving and should be avoided. After all, the goal is to have more games and more opportunities for others and to compensate for an imbalanced schedule. So, I do hope that there's diversity from the College Football Committee. I do hope that we stay away from situations like Florida State and Georgia. How do you keep a ranked team number 1 all the way across and all of a sudden get them out of the playoffs? Another factor to look at: is there a big difference between the 2 and 3 lost teams or 4 lost teams? We've seen this in the rankings. I'm just saying, I hope that we avoid all those troubles and to keep that mission, to keep that vision intact when we decide the top 12 teams going into the college football playoffs. Be sure to stay tuned for all the action and join us each week as we update you with the latest rankings and highlights. Thank you for joining me on my preseason college football top 25 announcement. Follow and subscribe to the channel. I'm Obi Muniz, and thank you for watching All 4 Down.